I didn't see you there. So I guess I'm here to tell you about ICE then. Have you heard of it? In case of emergency. It's an acronym. Follow me and I'll explain. A couple of years ago, you couldn't even see my garden. The whole area flooded around us and we were pretty trapped. It was definitely an emergency. It's not just flooding you have to think about though. What if your roof blows off or your house gets hit by lightning? It might seem extreme, but it can happen. Anyway, since the flood, Mum and Dad have put all sorts of things in place in case anything like that ever happens again. We call it our household emergency plan. Sometimes in an emergency, you may lose all power to your house. That's why Mum and Dad always have this torch handy. Without any power, there's no TV or radio, so there's no way to find out the latest news in your area. That's why we have this wind-up radio. Clever, eh? You might not know how long you'll have to stay in the house during an emergency. That's why Mum's filled one cupboard full of long-lasting food and drink to tide us over. They've also made sure the household insurance is up to date, especially so it covers flooding. That way, if anything ever happens again, they'll get the money back to repair any damage. So that's staying in the house sorted. What if you need to get out? It's quick! Luckily, Dad put this great plan together of how to get out the house safely, no matter where we might be. But it's not just yourself you have to think about. What about Winston? He can't get himself out safely. That's why Mum and Dad always leave his carry case close by, just in case. This is only part of our household emergency plan. Mum and Dad have also planned this stuff. How to help vulnerable family and neighbours, like Mrs Wilson across the road. She has to walk with a stick and she needs us to help her. They have identified possible exit routes from each room in the house. We all know about the 3 meeting points for our family in case we can't meet back at home. They've made sure we all know where to turn off the water, electricity and gas supply in our house. They've also found out about our emergency plans at school and what they need to do at work. So make sure your mum and dad have also made a household emergency plan. So you know I mentioned ICE earlier, in case of emergency? Well, you need to use this in your mobile phone. If you're ever in a situation where the emergency services need to help you, you'll always look on your mobile phone for an ICE number. Your ICE contact can be anyone. Just remember to tell them. If your ICE contact is deaf, just remember to call it ICE text instead of ICE. So if you haven't already, enter one in your phone at some point today. If you haven't got a mobile, write it on a piece of paper and pop it into your purse or wallet. Easy. So, as a recap, make sure you have an ICE number on you at all times, and make sure the people at home have a contact list like this one. In an emergency situation, there's often no time to hang about, so it's important to have a bag ready that contains all your essentials. This is called a go bag. Last week, I just borrowed the torch out of this bag, and Mum went mad. She made me feel really guilty of what would happen if there was an emergency, and we needed it, and it wasn't there, and oops! I'd be so grounded when the lights came back on, that's for sure. As you might have noticed, even though it's important our go bag's only small, it just makes it easier to carry, and this way we can keep it in a safe place which is easy to access. Here's all the things you'll need in your go bag. There's your personal emergency contact list, first aid kit, wind-up radio, or one that has batteries, but don't forget some spares, mobile phone and charger, glasses or contact lenses if you need them, toiletries like soap, shampoo and a toothbrush, bottled water, energy bars, coins and a bit of cash, a torch with spare batteries or a wind-up one, a change of clothes, some comfy shoes for everyone, and a nice warm blanket just in case. So there you have it, it's really easy. If you don't have all these things spare to put into your go bag tonight, get together and make a list of everything you might need. So, even though you know how to be fully prepared in an emergency, you still need to know what to do if an emergency actually happens. Unless you were told something different, you should stay exactly where you are. And number 1, go in. Stay inside the house with your family until the emergency services say it's okay to leave. Number 2, stay in. Close all windows and doors and stay well away from them. Number 3, tune in. Turn on your local radio station and listen for any news or instructions. And last but not least, stay calm and wait for more advice. So all you have to remember is go in, stay in and tune in. So, we're not just talking about classic fires and accidents. Even the flu can be considered an emergency. Seasonal flu normally occurs during the winter months and tends to be much more serious than the common cold. If you do get the symptoms of the flu, first you must tell someone how you feel. Don't go out, even to school, until you have fully recovered, and most importantly, drink lots of fluid. You should only contact your doctor if you get complications like a chest infection. But you can always ring the NHS Direct for advice on treatment. Just ring this number. Or you can search NHS Direct online. I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, catch it, bin it, kill it. Well, to reduce the chance of flu spreading, catch all coughs and sneezes in a tissue. Throw the tissue in the bin, then wash your hands to kill the virus. However, a pandemic flu can be a much more serious emergency. It happens when a new strain of flu virus develops that no one has built an immunity against and, like swine flu, it can spread rapidly throughout the world. Health organisations in the UK and around the world watch flu viruses very closely to anticipate a pandemic. Detailed plans are in place so we can respond accordingly if anything does happen. When I say severe weather, what do you think of? Rain, snow, ice? Well, that is true, but thick fog, gale force winds and high temperatures can cause major disruptions too. Dad says, if gale force winds are forecast, loose objects like these ladders and our garden furniture all need to be securely fastened down, so they can't get blown around and damage things. Or worse, people. The car has to be put in a safe place too, like the garage. Or at least out the way of buildings, trees and fences. And Dad always says, don't forget to close all the doors and windows properly. During gale force winds, you and your family should stay indoors, and if you have to go outside, don't go close to buildings or trees. After a severe gale, don't touch electrical telephone cables like those ones that might have blown down. Much better. But really high temperatures can be just as dangerous, if not more so, than other extreme weather conditions. That is, unless you follow these rules Mum tells me all the time. Stay in the shade. Wear a hat and loose clothing made out of cotton. Drink as much as possible. Keep rooms shaded. Use a fan if you can, but don't keep dogs like Winston in cars in hot weather. They really don't like it. If a dense fog is forecast, you and your family should avoid travelling anywhere. It's hard for cars to see, so take extra care when crossing roads. Mum bought us some of this reflective gear that always helps. It's the same for snow and ice really. We all love to make snowmen and have snowball fights, but there are other things we have to consider. If you and your family have to travel somewhere, always tell someone about where you're going and what time they should expect you back. Wear lots of layers and don't forget to wear a cool hat. Flooding is one emergency I know a lot about because our house flooded pretty badly a few years ago. Since that day, Mum and Dad have put all sorts of things into place, so if it ever happened again, we would be prepared. It includes things like storing all valuable, sentimental items and important documents upstairs, including our insurance policy, which we made sure covers us for a flood. Keeping food and water supplies upstairs. Buying sandbags to put down if we need to. But most important of all, we all know what we need to do if our house ever gets flooded again. We need to roll up carpets and take them upstairs, weigh down furniture to stop it floating away, put plugs in sinks and weigh them down to stop water coming up from the drains, bring caged pets inside and move Winston upstairs, move electrical equipment upstairs, move anything we can upstairs, listen to radio and TV weather forecasts for advice, raise heavy furniture on bricks and bring away from the walls. Just make sure you can do as much as you can in the daylight. Doing anything in the dark is a lot harder, especially if the electricity fails. There's a few other important things to consider if a flood ever occurs where you live. Sometimes people think they're being helpful by lifting off manhole covers, but in fact, it makes a flood a lot more dangerous. This is because people, especially children, are then at risk of getting sucked down these holes and drowning. It can also be tempting to play out in floodwaters. However, this is a very bad idea, not only because there is a risk of drowning, but also because floodwater gets mixed in with sewage water, meaning it carries all sorts of diseases and hazardous substances.